SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Welcome to today's episode of iGaming Daily. I'm your host, James Ross, and today we will be exploring a rather groundbreaking partnership between one of Brazil's most iconic football clubs, Flamengo, and its new sportsbook platform, FlaBet. Could this be the start of a new trend for sports club across the globe? To help us break it down, I'm thrilled to have Isadora Marcante and Fernando Noodt, our experts on all things Brazil and Latin America. Welcome to the show, you two. How have you both been? Isa first.
Okay, ladies first then. I'm being very good and I'm happy, excited about Lisbon as well. And I'm really happy to be here with Fernando again. It's been ages since we don't do a podcast together. So I'm really happy to be here.
And he's come with a fresh new look.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think I have been already on the podcast with my mustache, but it has been a while since we all three together did or recorded an episode. I've been hosting the Latin American episode, so it's good to be back as the power trio we are.
Definitely a power trio. And I wasn't talking about your mustache. I was talking about your lovely new spectacles and your new luscious volume-filled hair, which I'm envious of. This haircut is just circumstantial. Let's say I might have gone to the barbershop if I knew we were doing the video podcast, but we'll just have to go with it. We'll have to run with it as it is. And the glasses are also a new addition to my renovated look, so get used to it, people, please. And all funny comments are well received. I can't get used to it. I'm swooning over your fur. I can't get over it now. But I'm going to have to, because there's only one love of my life right now, and that is Optimove. #1 CRM focused marketing solution for the iGaming market and main supporter of the iGaming Daily podcast. For viewers, if you're looking on LinkedIn, the social snippets there. But for listeners out there, if you still want your first free month of Optimove, please visit optimove.com/SBC. And as per usual, I will leave all the links in the description below. So, away from Fur's volume-filled hair, let's get into the topic today. Let's kind of set the stage. And I'm going to do that by kind of outlining the basics of this deal. So, Isa, correct me if I'm wrong here, because you are the experts. But earlier this year, Flamengo revealed its plans to launch FlaBet in partnership with PixBet, who are a licensed operator. Instead of just being another sponsorship deal, though, Flamengo is now becoming more of an active player in the Brazilian sports betting market and is aiming to bring around, Isa, I'm going to need you on this one for the Brazilian currency, 82.5 million Brazilian currency. What is that?
Reais.
Over the next few years. So, and what's kind of interesting about this deal, or the structure of this deal, is that Flamengo is operating under a brand licensing model. Isa, could you just break down why this is such a big deal and why it fits in with the Brazil sport betting regulations?
Okay, so it's important to mention that this deal was only possible because PixBet is licensed by Loterj, which is the state lottery of Rio de Janeiro. Because the federal law that regulates sports betting within the whole country says that a civil association, what Flamengo is, cannot be an operator or cannot request an authorization to operate FlaBet. So Rio Lottery actually says that you don't have this prohibition in the Rio de Janeiro state lottery rules. So this allowed PixBet to actually propose Flamengo to create a sports betting site called FlaBet, which will be managed by PixBet, not by Flamengo. So Flamengo is doing what we say is he's licensing the brand. so Pixbet can manage it. And of course, Flamengo will get profit from it. And it could, like you said, 82.5 million BRL plus a royalty fee of 1% of GGR as a performance compensation. So actually, this is exactly what's happening. So that's only because of the state license, not because of the federal license, because Pixbet is not yet licensed by the federal government. They are waiting for an approval because they requested a license within the 90-day frame period that we had.
Mm-hmm. And that included about 133 different license applications?
Yeah, 108. So, 108 in total.
108? I thought it was 133.
No, actually we had 113 companies
113.
on the system, but we had duplicated companies too. So in total, we have only 108. Well, not only, we have 109 actually now because another one just applied last week. But like the companies that applied within the frame to obtain a license by the end of this year was 108 companies.
And that's why I always call you two my experts and not myself. Because I will get information wrong and you will always back me up. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Back onto Flamengo and Pixbet, because you've already mentioned, it's important to mention the clear differences with the state level license. But this is uniquely different from other sponsorship deals we've probably seen kind of around the world, not just in Brazil, because the clubs traditionally just generate revenue through sponsorships. Here, Flamengo, they've become more than just a brand. They're actively, like you said, participating in the revenue sharing from Pixbet. Can I just want to get your thoughts on this? Because you're a big sports guy like myself, and just looking into other teams within Latin America, not just Brazil. Like, is this a trend, sir?
No, this is definitely new. This is definitely something that I haven't heard from any other club or any other sponsorship deal, even though the betting segment has been like very present in the football landscape, especially, of course, other sports too, but let's focus on football or soccer if you are an American listening to this, but let's keep it to football. But but since the betting industry has been so present in the sport, you would expect to kind of hear something like this in some place else, but I haven't. Like this is completely new. I think it has to do, like Isa said, with the conflict with the Loterj and the federal regulation. I think that's a very unique aspect to the regulatory landscape that makes this such an interesting opportunity for Pixbet and Flamengo to run this brand. And it makes a very, very great opportunity for Flamengo to make extra revenue, because Brazil has been like taking off in financially in comparison to other countries over the last few years, over the last decade or so, and it has quite an advantage from the amount of money they generate from TV rights, from sponsorship deals and everything, and this is taking that to the next level. And I think probably other clubs in other countries should maybe take a look into this type of deal, because they might need to start considering how to generate that extra revenue so they can keep Brazil in a reaching distance, because it's like the difference between Brazilian football and the rest of the Latin American sport is abysmal. It's insane, and it already was before this. And with this type of deal, I think Flamengo is getting a very significant edge over first other Brazilian clubs, and then after in comparison to the rest of Latin America, to compete in the Copa Libertadores, for example.
Yeah, sports teams within the UK, I can't see this being a thing in our market. Our regulated market is too strict, and even when you look at football sponsorship within the country, it's becoming so tighter when it comes to gambling. Even though it's kind of the bedrock, certainly beneath the Premier League and the EFL leagues, the English football leagues. It's kind of the bedrock of keeping that pyramid alive and stable. But there's so much kind of restriction coming from the UK market now, so I can't see it happening here. Potentially not even in the European market, but definitely in like more of the LATAM regions or, you know, the CIS regions potentially. It's interesting, and every single club around the world, no matter what, is trying to jump and capitalize on fan engagement. And for me, this is kind of a great step for Flamengo and teams within Brazil and Latin America, where you can look to now do this in identifying kind of regulatory gaps. But how do you think this will affect the relationship between clubs and the supporters? Could betting now become an integral part of the fan experience moving forward in a different way? Because I know there's the relationship between football fans and betting is probably one of the closest connections you'll ever make and the strongest connections you'll ever make in terms of like being a parallel kind of identity. But could it become more of an integral part of the experience moving forward?
Well, I think so. Yes. I think if the club is directly involved with the betting operation, definitely the fans from that club, in this case Flamengo, will probably be closer to the segment, closer to the experience. They already are all across Latin America with different experiences that betting brands do in each country with each club. Like like Gulbet introducing Arturo Vidal in Colo-Colo in Chile and making a whole experience out of it, or Betson in Boca Juniors with presence in some games outside the stadium, giving away gifts or making it an experience all besides or beyond the sponsorship deal of just showing in the shirt. But with the club being an integral part of the betting operation, I think it opens a whole lot of opportunities for not only the brand, which would be FlaBet, or we can talk about PixBet, which is going to be managing the operation, and also for Flamengo to get the fans more involved, because we all know that the betting experience helps like with engagement, like helps fans. Even, of course, if you are a fan of one team and you want to watch that team and you are already engaged, but if you add the betting industry to that or a betting experience to that, you get more engaged as well, because maybe you're waiting for something else to happen besides your team winning. But beyond the betting opportunities, I think it definitely makes it a major I can't visualize what type of opportunities this brings to Flamengo.
And also, not only to, like Fer was saying, like to narrow down the relationship with the fans, but not only the fans in Rio, but the fans in the entire country. Because as much as we know that Loterj is a state lottery and can offer licenses for state operators, in the notice for accreditation, they leave it actually ambiguous, and they mention that the operators should be carrying their operations in the state, but not the players. So the players, they will need to be based in Rio to access Loterj's betting sites that are licensed. So this creates like a problem, but a better exposure for PixBet, not only in Rio but in the country, and for all the fans of Flamengo in Brazil as well, not only in Rio.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick to you there, Isa, because we're going to kind of look at the kind of legal and regulatory challenges, and now kind of looking at a forward-thinking strategy like this is, there are some legal challenges, especially like you've mentioned with federal regulations. Flamengo, just to reiterate, it is currently limited to operating FlaBet in Rio de Janeiro, but it has had pushback, and I believe it's the Brazilian Institute for Responsible Gaming. Am I right in saying that? They're arguing that Loterj might be overstepping its authority. First off, do you agree with that? Is that something that you think they're doing? And do you think this is an issue other clubs will need to navigate around if they're going to try and replicate this model?
Well, based on the law, we can say that Loterj is overstepping because the federal law said that all the operators and all the companies involved with the sports betting industry have until the 31st of December to be regulated. They have a period of time to adjust and to implement the new rules of the sector. So when Loterj wants to block everyone that is not licensed in Rio yet, Loterj is overstepping the federal law and causing problems. But I'm going to say something here. From my point of view, this is a problem that the government created, that the federal government created when they legalized sports betting. They added lotteries to it. They said lotteries is a modality of sports betting, fixed odds sports betting. When you do that after a decision that the Supreme Court of Brazil did in 2019, saying that the federal government don't have anymore the monopoly of the lottery systems in Brazil, and allowing states and municipalities to have their own lotteries, and you add lotteries to the sports betting law, you were saying you created this problem. You were saying that they create their own notice for accreditation, and you were allowing them to decide whatever they want. So Loterj is not doing anything against the law when she wants everyone in Rio to be licensed, but is overstepping the federal legislation at the same time, So, but I believe that Loterj should wait until the 31st December to do something, until 1st January, actually, to do something. So, because from now on, from that day onwards, no illegal market should be able to operate in Brazil without being monitored and penalized. So
from the Flamengo deal with PixBet, do you think we're going to be heading into kind of a legal showdown between the state and federal authorities? Oh,
yes, we will. And the Minister of Finance already said that he's going to do something about not FlaBet, but he's going to do something about what Loterj is allowing their operators to do, which is operate in the entire country as long as they are licensed under Loterj's by Loterj. But they said they were going to do it. But at the same time, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to change something that you don't have autonomy to do it, because Loterj has autonomy to do whatever Loterj wants in their rules. And for the federal government to step in and do something about it to change the situation is not that easy. You cannot just say that, okay, Loterj, you cannot offer this kind of rule anymore. You cannot allow this to happen. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as editing a provisional measure or publishing a law. It's much more complicated because of this issue of the autonomy of the states. That once again, the federal government created this problem. So I don't think they saw this coming when they did that in 2018, when they legalized the industry. Back in the day, but that's basically what's happening now. Loterj is not doing anything exactly wrong, but is overstepping the legislation.
Yeah, I think they jumped ahead of time, really. They did. Because they, like you said, they should wait until the 31st of December, and after, when the industry is fully regulated at the federal level, because the federal government has been pushing federal regulation for a long time now. So they have been discussing this for a long time. And Loterj trying to block operations in Rio de Janeiro, I think it's a bit, it obviously clashes with that federal regulation. So I think what they done wrong is like going ahead and jumping ahead of time and saying, okay, we want to run our own thing and the rest of the country can run its own thing. But then at the same time, the federal government was discussing this legislation. So I think they are going against the current here. They're going against the what the whole country is expecting to. So I don't see them like winning this legal battle if they eventually decide to go on with it and challenge the federal government in the courtroom or whatever. And I think that this is eventually going to like wash down and their efforts are going to eventually
be a thing of the past. And in vain. And finally, the federal regulation and the federal model will eventually be the one that's set in Brazil.
Yeah, especially because not only Loterj, but every other state lottery can only offer licenses for operators because of the law that legalized sports betting by the federal government as well. And the federal government allowed them to do that. So I think it's a bit of good manners as well, to wait until the period of settling down and arranging everything is over so you can do something about it.
Perfect. I was going to do a wrap-up question, but I think we are out of time, but I feel like it's a nice spot to leave. Isa, thank you for joining us. It's obvious that the biggest challenge now facing kind of the state and federal laws will be navigating the legal landscape. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if this then turns into kind of a national opportunity for other clubs in Brazil. I'm not going to say anything other than that, apart from watch this space, keep an eye on SBC Noticias and SBC Noticias Brazil, because we'll keep you up to date with all the latest developments relating to this story and anything else happening in those regions. Isa, thank you for joining us, and to our listeners out there, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily Podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.